My recent video on the price of the SL55 and the price of w127s sparked an awful lot of comment and interest, so I thought I'd do a follow-up on what's happened to the prices of Mercedes Pagodas and also the 190 SLs, which have skyrocketed in recent years. These Pagodas or 113 SLs sell for anything between about £40,000 and £140,000 depending on condition and whether they've been restored. And many people commented in the last video that, you know, R107s, many of them were made and that's why prices were low, and the R230 had a huge number of potential electrical problems, that's why prices were low. But what I'm going to demonstrate is that even the Pagodas, some of them have fetched reasonable money in the right condition with the right restoration, but some of them have simply not met reserve. With the right spec and the right conditions, these cars can fetch £100,000 plus, but many of them are not meeting the reserve at auction. And my own personal view is, I'm saying this as somebody who spent many years as an investment manager investing the most highest risk investments, is that you need to be very careful when you're paying over £50,000 for one of these, because the scope to lose money is immense.
Right, another beautiful Mercedes, lot number 166, the 230 SL Pagoda. This has had around about £8,000 recently spent at the SL shop, which, as you know, is the go-to place. So at £44,000 a bit. Are we all done? For the first time at 44. Second time, third and last at £44,000. No, we're going to leave that one there, I'm afraid. Speak to the guys in the office on that, but that doesn't need to be more than that. Right, lot number 227, 1968 in the end of Mercedes-Benz, the 280 SL Pagoda. This is a car with a factory hardtop, again, a desirable 280 example. It was driven to Mercedes-Benz World and driven here to the sale. Right, start me on that if you will. Can I say £30,000? He'll start me at £30,000 for it. Can I say 30,000? £30,000. He'll start me at £30,000. Any interest at 30,000? Let's say, what about 25 then? Start me at 25. 25 bit, thank you. £25,000 bit. Online at £30,000 for the first time. £30,000 for the second time. Third and final time for what looks to be a very, very well-priced Pagoda. All done at £30,000. It is quite provisional, Cheltenham, but we can only have a conversation. Right, lot number 211. Lot number 211 now is the 1971 Mercedes-Benz, the 280 SL Pagoda, offered without reserve, ladies and gents. Rust-free example coming from California, this. UK duties are paid and UK registered. Believed to have had just 2 owners in the US. Comes with its factory hardtop and even retro-fitted air conditioning. It is without reserve. I've got 14 and 15,000. 15, 16,000 online. Looking for 70. 34,000. Last chance, once, twice, third and last, 34,000. Sold your way. One of 562 right-hand drive examples. A rare hardtop car as well. Exceptional condition, photographic bare metal respray. Only recently as well. Now, start me on that if you will. Again, I have some interest on the sheet, but I'm looking for your way. Let's say £120,000 to get us underway. Who'll start me at £120,000? Start me at £120,000. If not, we're going to open on the sheet with me. Anybody wish to come in at 120? I shall say 110 then, shall we? Any interest at 110? Right, nice and low then. I'm going to open the bidding at 95 and I'm going to ask for £110,000 bid. Does anybody wish to go 115? The bid is at £110,000 then. For 110,000, I'll take 112 quickly. If not, the bid is at 110 then. For the first time, 110 for the second time. Third and last at £110,000. It may not surprise you, but we will leave that one there, I'm afraid. At that
this car has been in several films recently, including the Netflix series The Gentleman. This was the car that wouldn't start when they were trying to steal the Lamborghini. It was in Joan the Jewel Thief. This was the car that was in the lockup that was revealed. And next year it'll feature heavily in a film that hasn't come out yet called The Girlfriend. One thing I can say about the Pagoda, apart from the fact it's a beautiful car, it's also very, very reliable. This car I haven't used since summer. Started straight away. We've just driven it a few hours to one of the leading SL restoration shops. That's not the SL shop, it's a company called TI Developments, and I wanted to talk to him about Pagodas. He's going to do some work on our roof on this car, the hardtop, which requires some attention, but I wanted to talk to him about what to look for when buying a Pagoda, because they restore an awful lot of Pagodas, and he'll have better insight than many on what makes a £50,000 car and what makes a £150,000 car. So I've come here to Westbury to a company called TI Developments, and they specialise in the restoration of all sorts of cars, but they've got a whole wealth of experience in Pagodas. Just in this shop alone, they've got at least two, and I've brought mine down here to get an idea from the owner, Martin, what it's going to cost to repair, what people should be looking for when they buy a Pagoda, and some of the problems that you may run into. So this is an interesting car here. This is an electric Pagoda. There's a couple of places in England that do this. These guys are Retro Electric, based down in Kent. There's a classic electric cars over in Wales, but you get involved in the restoration, the bodywork, etc., but not in the electrics yourself.
Absolutely.
What's going on with the white Pagoda?
The white Pagoda is an almost daily use car, local guy. Came to us originally as a box of bits, unfinished project.
I know all about box of bits and an unfinished project.
Someone else had painted it, someone else had trimmed it, but it came in as a box of parts. We assembled it. It's actually been a really good car. The car has been used, has been driven. Unfortunately, it had a fault with the fuel pump. So hence, fuel pump's been off. It's been to the SL shop to have a full overhaul. So the injector pumps are quite specialist, or very specialist. And they've got all the tools, all the knowledge. They've obviously recently built and bought out the people with the equipment to do the pumps.
So Martin, just tell me, if somebody buys a shiny looking Pagoda like this, in the UK, these cars can go from anywhere between about 30,000 and 160,000. Would that be fair to say? I mean, at 160,000, that's probably, I would say, slightly overvalued. But have you ever had somebody who's bought a 30,000, £40,000 car and rolled into you and said, "Oh, can you just fix a few bits?" And then you start taking things off, and the true horrors come.
Absolutely.
So what should people be looking for? What are the really expensive parts on these cars? Is it rust? Is it engine?
Both.
Both.
I think absolutely both.
How much would it cost, for example, to overhaul an injection pump like this?
Injector pump. This one had a cracked housing, so it's not a true. This just cost just over £3,000.
Okay.
To have the pump completely gone through.
And I'm going to get you to have a look at my car and just pretend that I've just bought it, because I know there's several issues with my car. I just want to get your insight into what it's going to cost to fix those, not to make it into a concourse car, but it's a daily driver for me as well. So is it true, Martin, that this is your pimped up ride that you drive around?
This is my daily car, yeah. I use this one, I go to Morrison's on a daily basis.
You haven't pimped it up, it's on air suspension.
It's on factory air suspension, and it's just gone down because it's if it stays for a certain amount of time, it tends to lose air.
Wow, and what's the history of this car? It's quite a famous car, isn't it?
Very famous.
How many owners?
One owner.
One owner, wow.
One family owner. From new, Mr. Longley himself.
Well, as in Longley, the safari park?
Longley Safari Park.
Wow.
Mr. Original Lord Bath I bought it brand new in '63.
Wow, so when it came to you, it had all the monkeys pulled off all the rubber bits, because every time
everything missing. But now belongs to Lady Sylvie, who is the daughter of the original.
Is it for sale, or is it just stored here, or has it just had some work? No.
It's had work. It's had work, it's having work, but we have just said we love looking at it. It's a lovely thing to have in the shop. Bad memories for me.
Right, you used to have one of these, didn't you?
I love these cars.
And why did you sell it? Was it family pressures, or?
I think one of the reasons was it was only two-seater, and I've got two kids, so we couldn't really do anything together a lot. But I don't regret much in my life, but I do honestly regret selling the Pagoda.
Do you know, I don't use this car much, but it fires up straight away. It's a powerful fuss. It's an exhilarating drive. You can see from the filming that it's been in. It's got all sorts of dents on the bonnet and everything else now, but I'm not too precious about this car. I don't want to be driving a car that's a concourse restoration, but let me show you some of the things that need doing. What I'd like to do is get the hardtop repaired. I've got that bit of chrome, but it fell off in the last bit of filming, and obviously what most people like me would do is get a bit of mastic and stick it on there. But what I'd like to do, if possible, is actually leave the roof here while I go off to Australia and get you to actually stick it on with your own mastic, which you've probably got, or fix
Mansory glue,
Mansory glue, as Matt Armstrong calls it. Yeah.
No, we don't do Mansory glue here.
So the other thing is this car leaks like a bucket, as most Pagodas do, and this one here needs sorting out. It's got holes in here basically. I think I've stuck a bit of tape over there as a temporary measure and stuff. You can see it's starting to come into here, so I'd like, if possible, just to get a quote to, you know, to do this. As I say, I don't want to necessarily respray the whole car. I've got another little bit of tape in here and stuff, so this it's going to need just repairing, just so it doesn't leak every time I go out in the rain. It's just showing the first signs of rust there, and you've probably seen enough of these to know that if you don't address things like that now, in a year or two's time, that'll be, you know, a major job. So once again, if possible, I'd like to get an idea if that's something you could touch up, or if you think it's not worth it because you have to do the whole wing. I don't know much about painting, but you've actually got here, is that what your place as well?
No, that's not our place.
So you've got several units. The one we've just been is a relatively new venture for you. In there you've got cars for sale, and also they've storage if they look nice enough, and cars you're working on. Maybe we can go and have a look at the fabrication and the paint shop.
Yes.
Wow, this place looks amazing. What have you got? I mean, these cars look like serious projects.
Absolutely.
So how long might a project like this, what is this car here?
So it's an Aston Martin DB6.
Wow, I mean, so these are not cheap cars. And how long would this project take from start to finish?
About a year and a half, depending on.
And you're not intimidated by taking on these things? You kind of know what you're letting yourself in for?
No, this one's been in for metal fabrication. It used to have a Robusto roof. We took the roof off, put a new roof on it, put a new rear valance on it, done all the steel work.
Here at TI Developments, you do the fabrication, the paint, the mechanics, you do the whole caboodle basically, and presumably you've had customers for years. And yeah. And what is this beast over here?
Well, that's a 1932 M45 Lagonda.
Wow.
Again, that's had everything. It's had a new ash frame made by the man in front of you.
Wow.
Still.
So you've got an amazing skill set here with people. They have got a fabrication shop on site. I can see they're doing a little Fiat 500 there. We've got one in our garage. That's an Austin Healey. This is an Alfa Romeo Giulietta, quite a rare one apparently. And an old Porsche 911 by the looks of things. So they do everything on site here, from fabrication to painting to the mechanical side of things. If I said to you, Martin, I want you to strip down my Pagoda to bare metal and fix all the rust and sort out, what sort of waiting list is there for stuff like that?
Yeah, probably 6 months to a year now.
6 months to a year. Okay. So what happens in here? These look like custom vehicles.
So they are, bespoke builds as such. So these have just come back from dipping. So these are in the process. This is beam dipped.
Who does the dipping? Is that done locally
So
or?
it's done in Birmingham.
Birmingham, yeah.
Which is a bit of a pain in the
And then it goes up on a trailer, comes back, and then you...
Yeah, they do all the fabrication. So once it's been dipped, you undertake all your fabrication. That one's pretty much done in fabrication, and then it goes back, which is a slight pain. It has to go back, and then it gets e-coated. So it goes from this to this. So we will eventually.
So e-coating is when you buy panels from Mercedes and stuff like that. That's what they've got on them.
It's a factory spec coating. It's fully submerged, it's electrically, statically charged, and then, so effectively that shell should last 20, 30, 40 years. It's as good as a modern factory spec. Wow. But that's almost the two processes. That's before and that's after. Full custom Morris Minor.
Wow.
This is low light.
And have you painted these? Is that why they look so clean and shiny?
This one's a very special colour.
Wow.
This is a low light, split screen. Ignore the wheels, but they're beautiful.
Whoa!
It's a very special car.
So you didn't do this, did this just come in for paint? You
I've done absolutely everything to this car. This has had a 3-inch roof chop. It's been narrowed, widened, dropped.
You look remarkably young to have been doing all of that work.
Custom Ford engine.
Wow.
Ford drivetrain. Everything about this car is bespoke. Even the hinges on the bonnet are internally.
So it's not your car, is it?
No, it's a customer's car.
Wow, that's an amazing looking Bristol. I notice you've got the VW split screen in there. So you get involved in vans as well, or are you so wise now that you turn them away if you saw another one?
I tend to get involved in anything.
This looks almost like a new vehicle. So many of these are just filled and bodged. What was this like when it came in?
Absolutely the same. Just filled and bodged, accident damage, bent, twisted. The doors were barely closed where the hinge were.
And do you think when people go along to auctions and they buy things like this, do you think they'll ever appreciate? Because when this is painted and put back together, this is going to look lovely, and you could sit this alongside another split screen that looks lovely, but there could be what, 10, 20, 30,000 pound difference between them, or more?
It'll be more. Especially in today's world, it's highly expensive.
So if somebody came along to you and said, Martin, I want to buy a Pagoda sort of to drive it as an investment, should they be looking, obviously you should probably always spend as much as you can afford, but should they be looking for a 40 grand car and spending some money on it, or should they be looking for a 60 grand car? What would you say? Or would you say...
I think whatever you buy, you need to buy with your eyes wide open, and I think you need to have it assessed by someone who knows what they're doing. What they're looking
Absolutely.
for. That is the fundamental sort of starting point.
So if you went, because you used to own a Pagoda, and hopefully you're still missing it, but what would you look for if you went to an auction now?
First and foremost, rust. I think there are some.
So whereabouts? What? I mean, I know I've had a Pagoda for the last 20, 30 years, so I know about West. Where are the first places you would look?
Should we look on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sills, bottom of the front wings, bottom of the rear wings are very common places.
Are there telltale signs? Like if you see a little bit of bubbling dust, just what you can see, and you know it's going to be...
Good one to do is take the jacking point covers off and look through, because we've had one that had nothing inside.
No, that sounds like mine.
So, no, obviously the water tends to leak through the roof at the rear, rots out the bottom corners, front corners. That's pretty common. Front wings up along the structure, because the mud sits up on top of that internal strengthener. They can get quite bad in there.
So would you be looking for a car that's actually had those things done, or would you be looking for a low mileage, or a car that's lived its life in a nice hot climate, a sunny climate? What would you be looking for?
I'd go for the latter if the option was there and it was lived most of its life in a dry country and it was original. Absolutely. But so many of these things now have lived a life and they do need or have had attention. You just got to go in with your eyes wide open. Filler and paint can hide a multitude of sins.
I'm going to finish this video here. Big thanks to Martin at TI Developments. They have a wealth of experience in that workshop. So if you do need any work done or restorations done on your Mercedes, give them a call.